So here we have Elliot, and for this week's update, we have Elliot walking around Lowe's, demonstrating great behavior and great obedience. I'll explain kind of what we're doing as we go along right now, just walking with a nice loose leash. I am aware that the leash is kind of on the floor between his legs, but it's okay, we want a nice loose leash. Here we have Elliot greeting a stranger, and he loves affection, so he has no problem walking up to people, saying hello, and taking some praise. As you see here, he wanted a little bit more. He's such a sweet, sweet puppy. Back to the leash walking. So we're walking, nice loose leash. If he goes out in front of me, I'll tell him, easy. Let him hit the end of the leash as I stop walking. And then I tell him, this way, and bring him back to my left side. So he has really, really great handler focus. He does listen really well on the leash and walks very nicely.
Stay.
Here I have him in a sit, flat open hand telling him stay and creating some distance. It was a very busy day in Lowe's, so there was a lot going on, and he still did really, really great with this.
Okay.
Praising him throughout the command,
good job.
and then giving the release word, which is okay. Here we are back just walking through, letting him enjoy walking around everywhere, seeing people. So he goes out in front of me, I tell him easy, and he comes right back to my left side, and I praise that behavior, as that's exactly what we want our puppies to do. So he does check in with me periodically. Anytime he looks at me, I tell him positive marker words like yes, good boy. And again, when he goes out in front of me, I say easy, and he backs right up to my left side. Getting Elliot's focus, telling him sit. I did reward him and then decided I was going to do a stay. Typically, I do not give a treat reward at the beginning of a stay. But again, I didn't really plan to do this. It was more so I was just going to have him sit and then decided to give him that stay command. And he still did great even though he got his reward at the beginning. So giving that flat open hand, I'm telling him yes, good boy, talking to him while he's holding this, praising him, and then creating distance again, with a little reminder in there of stay in the flat open hand. This way he doesn't have anticipation on when he can just break away, or just because I create distance or walk out of sight that he doesn't just get to go where he wants. This also encourages handler focus, that he has to be aware of when the release word is coming. So just because I walk up and praise him doesn't mean he's allowed to go. But once I say that, okay, then he is allowed to go. So here I handed him the treat. And then I just grabbed his leash and we started walking because I had already given that release word.
Stay.
So here we're doing another stay. Again, it was very busy, so I wanted to utilize the crazy hecticness of Lowe's. He's looking at people while he's holding this. I actually have people who walk up behind me while I'm doing this, and they do watch him, and he does not mind an audience. He is very, very outgoing and confident, and he will follow through no matter kind of what's going on. So really, really great, especially with these sit stays. And that's what you want. You want to be able to give your young dog or puppy a sit stay and kind of be able to shop around and not necessarily have to worry what they're doing. So I would be able to walk over to something, grab it, walk back over, grab Elliot, say okay, and then continue with what my shopping needs are. So that's exactly what this is for, and a great example of when to use a sit stay. He has great handler focus, just watching, waiting for me to give that okay. Tell him okay, gave him the treat, grabbed the leash, and we started walking. And he walks right to my left side very nicely. I do let Elliot smell things while we're out and about. Even though he's been in training for quite some time, I still want him to feel comfortable and desensitized to an environment. And of course, when a stranger wants to say hello, I can't tell them no, nor can Elliot. So I gave this gentleman the okay to praise Elliot. And as you see, Elliot is just soaking it up. Another great thing about Elliot is he's not jumping up on strangers. He walks up with really great manners so that they can praise him without overwhelming them. And then another sit stay. I know it seems like we did a lot of these, but again, I wanted to utilize the distracting environment and make sure that he follows through this no matter where we are. And I've also was making noises and other things to create different distractions than what we would typically have at the manor or even at other field trips. Lowe's is a very loud, rambunctious place, lots of machinery going on, as well as different sights and sounds. I even stepped out of sight completely, and he didn't care. So, still holding that, following through, and that's exactly what I want. So, praise him up, tell him good boy, good job, those positive marker words, and then saying okay, and we continue walking. Here we're doing a little off leash, and I don't do this with all puppies, only the fact that I have really good trust for Elliot off leash in this store, because there are other dogs walking around, and we want to make sure we're always safe. But I did feel comfortable and confident enough with Elliot to let him walk off leash. Of course, I have it dropped, so if I have to grab it quickly, I can. But using the same terminology I would with leash walking, telling him this way when changing direction to cue in that handler focus, and he walks with me phenomenally. So this is a little bit of off-leash work in a public setting, which is also working on his heel, because I'll say this way, heel, and he's walking right with me. He is a step or two behind me, but that's perfectly fine. I'd much rather that than him ever be out in front of me. I'm praising him, telling him good job, and we ended this field trip on a positive note.